So chicken wings are on the menu today, both the flats and the little drumstick part too. First thing I want to do is get our seasoning rub ready. And there's going to be one ingredient which not everyone uses, but which you can use to help that skin get a little crispier. First ingredient is half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, half a teaspoon of a coarsely ground black pepper, quarter teaspoon of kosher salt, and a quarter teaspoon of smoked salt. Now, you can buy smoked salt in a lot of places. You can order it online, get it at your grocery store. If you don't have smoked salt or you can't get it, just use half a teaspoon of kosher salt. This just brings a little bit of that smoky flavor into these because we're doing them in the oven, not out on the grill, and this is a really nice addition. Finally, a tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda. Now, when you use baking powder, there can be a couple different kinds. Some of them have an additive which has aluminum in it. Try not to use that because some people really taste that aluminum. In fact, I do when I've had baking powder that has that in it and I didn't know. So you want just sort of that pure baking powder, not baking soda. Now, I have seen some recipes use baking soda, but I prefer to use baking powder in this sort of recipe. I just want to mix this up. And this is not for a heavy coating on our wings. This is really just to get a little seasoning and to help the skin crisp up. That's what we're looking for. Let's get our wings out here. So I have my wings in a nice big steel bowl here to make this seasoning process a little cleaner. And these have air dried in the refrigerator overnight on a rack. That just helps the skin dry out a little bit more. There's still a little moisture and you want some so that the seasoning rub can adhere to them. Now, if you don't have overnight, if you throw these in the refrigerator for a couple hours, that will really work well too. But I like doing that to give that air drying time. Now we're just gonna start seasoning these and rolling them around. And again, this is not a heavy coating here, so just keep seasoning them as you turn them. Now, if you want a scientific explanation as to why the baking powder helps the skin crisp up and brown, I think it has something to do with the pH of the skin, and the baking powder helps raise it or lower it. I'm not sure. This is a modified version of the America's Test Kitchen recipe for these type of wings. And I found it works really well. Get some more seasoning on here. Roll them around a little more. All right, let's go ahead and get this on our baking tray. So I have my baking tray here lined with aluminum foil and it has a baking rack in it. This really helps if you have one of these because it just keeps those wings up off the bottom of the tray, lets the heat and air circulate all the way around. Now you can flip these about halfway through the process if you want. I'm not gonna be doing that, I'm just gonna be rotating the tray. So let's go ahead and give this a quick spray of some canola oil. You can use vegetable oil, anything you got, just to help those wings not stick. And then we're just gonna start placing them skin side up. Now sometimes these don't have skin all the way around them, especially on the little drummies. So you just do the best you can. And while we're getting these on the rack, my oven is preheating to 250 degrees. This is a two-part cooking process today. We're gonna go 250 degrees for 30 minutes, then we're gonna crank the temperature up to 425, and we're gonna go another 40 minutes. Again, this is a modified version of the America's Test Kitchen recipe for this. That first half hour at 250 helps to dry the skin out a little bit more. Some other ways you can help to get a little bit crispier skin is you could actually spray these with a little bit of oil or some duck fat. That works really well. We're gonna work to fit everybody on one rack today. Sometimes they look a little funky like that one, but don't worry about that. If you can keep them from touching, that's preferable, but it's not gonna hurt anything if they touch a little bit. Make it work. Now, this recipe can definitely be adapted to out on the grill. You can use the same temperatures, the same times, the same ingredients. The benefit of doing that is you do get some of that nice smoky, grilly flavor on there. You may not need to add any of that smoked salt. I got rain here today, so that's not an option. It's the oven. And these are looking good. Our oven is at 250 degrees. Let's get these in there for 30 minutes. So here are our finished chicken wings. Now, they're done at 165 degrees. They're safe to eat, but I like to take these to closer to 175 degrees, so I did check the temp on those. These ended up taking 40 minutes. Every oven is different, so you may have to adjust based upon your oven. Check that temperature and look at them. We want that sort of golden brownness like these. And wings are pretty forgiving, so if they go past 175 a little bit, it's not gonna hurt anything. So now I'm gonna set these aside and we're gonna make our sauce to toss these in. Now I'm gonna use a bottled sauce for tossing these wings. It's mild sauce, but I am gonna add one thing. So let's get a little bit into the bowl here, maybe half a cup or so. And to this, for a little bit of extra tang, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon or so of a maple vinegar. You don't have to do this. You could add some red wine vinegar or nothing at all. So just a tablespoon or so, a little splash here. I'm gonna mix this up. And now let's get our wings in here and give them a toss. Let's give everybody a toss in here. Give everybody a good coating. That's looking good. Let's plate some up. So I'm gonna dive right in here with a nice little drummy. Let's see. I just love that saucing at the end, but the thing you have to remember is if you make these wings crispy like we did in the oven, and then you toss them in sauce, it will soften that skin a bit, but it's the trade-off. You can leave them unsauced if you want, or sauce them super lightly, but come on, they're wings. You want some sauce on them. No unnatural flavors from that baking powder to help the skin sort of dry out and crisp up a bit. Remember, if you're using baking powder, make sure it doesn't have any of those aluminum additives to it. This doesn't, and these taste great. Just a nice hint of that smokiness from that smoked sea salt. If you want more, you can add more and replace some of the kosher salt, or you could really use some liquid smoke if you want in the sauce. You could also go for a sauce with some smokiness to it if that's what you want. If not, make these to your liking with the flavors you like, something you're going to enjoy, and I'm sure enjoying these.